executive functions. All executive functions, whatever you want to execute, is controlled by the frontal lobe. Your behavior, to be a loving person, to comport yourself, anything that needs execution is controlled by the frontal lobe. So our friends who have diseased frontal lobe are people who say that they have gone mad. They are unable to reason clearly as people of sound mind can reason. The frontal lobe is a very important part of our brain. And in fact, if I can raise my hand, if I can walk, if I can sit, if I can do anything, I do them because the frontal lobe is working. There's a part of the frontal lobe called the primary motor cortex. The primary motor cortex, this one. This part of the brain, the frontal lobe, this part, this one, is where all our movement, if you want to do any kind of movement, that's where all those activities have been coordinating from. The movement, the eyelid, the eye feels, if you can see clearly, how the eye movements are done, all those things are carried on because your frontal lobe is functioning. Sanchez, please, can you mute? Okay. The frontal lobe is key for all executions. So if we speak to our church members and they are able to follow what we are saying, it means they have very solid frontal lobes. And if you have leaders who can reason, who can think about the future and do so appropriately because they have very solid frontal lobes, they're able to think and reason out of the box. That's where the whole thing about out of the box thinking is coming from. If you can think about something very critically, plan and do proper planning. All these things are developed from the frontal lobe. So it's a very important part. So people who have had accident, who hit their head on the floor or have been stricken by something on the forehead, they may lose some parts of their frontal lobe and they begin to behave abnormally sometimes. So our psychiatric friends are treating these people because of problems about this part of the brain. I don't know why God put it in front. It's like our lights, the frontal lobe. That's where much of our work, what we are doing today, is coming from. If you can remember whatever I'm saying, because your frontal lobe is functioning properly. So this is how I was talking about where all our motor function, your tongue, and in fact, the hand has a major section. There was a tongue and the face have a major section. Place have a major section. So your hand alone has a large area of the brain that controls the hand and the tongue. Very large area of the brain, this side of the brain that controls the tongue and the hand. So people will lose that activity because the frontal lobe is no longer functioning appropriately. Now, if the frontal lobe is to make us do the execution, the sense there's the parietal lobe, that's this side here. The parietal lobe over here is to help us feel whatever it is. Right? Now, the frontal lobe, if what you can hear whatever I'm saying, because the frontal lobe helps you to appreciate it. Now, if you appreciate, then how are you appreciating it? It's because your parietal lobe, where the language is interpreted. If you can feel heat, if you can feel warmth, whatever you can feel on your body, these feelings are coordinated by the parietal lobes. So this is how the parietal lobe also looks like. The hand plays a major role And then that's why much of our feel, we can feel a lot of things on our hands. And that's how it is arranged on the brain. So this section here controls our tongue feelings on our tongue, the taste. And this section controls much of our face, sensation of the face, and it goes all the way to the perineum at the anus, which has a very small section of control. Now, the temporal lobe. That's where our chances of hearing things, if you can hear what I'm saying, and hear what I'm saying, is because your temporal lobe is functioning. The temporal lobe is here, around here, the temporal lobe. Parietal lobe is around here, and the temporal lobes are here, where your ear is, where the ear ends. That's where the temporal lobe is. That's where it's like that side of the brain is like a hard drive. It keeps the information into memory. That's where our emotions are felt. If you can feel sad, feel happy, and all those things are controlled by the section of the temporal lobe. Now, at the back of the head, what we call the occipital lobe, everything you are seeing now is being interpreted at the back of your head, what we call the occipital lobe. So when it hits your head at the back against something and the occipital lobe is diseased, you can go blind from the back. So whatever is going through your eyes goes all the way to the back of your head, what we call the occipital lobe, for interpretation to be carried on. Now, this is controlled by what they call the central nervous system, the brain. The brain has about 12, they have 12 connections. 12 connections that link the brain to other parts of the body called the cranial nerves. I won't worry you much about these nerves. Some of the nerves carry your ability to move, ability to feel, and both as it is. All right. As I said earlier, if you can feel, there's a specific point of your body designed for a cable or a nerve to come all the way so that you can feel whatever is there. Very, very specific. And that's what God has made it to be. And there are billions of these things in our body. Billions of them. Now, so beyond the brain and the spinal cord, there are so many nerves that connect the brain and then the spinal cord. They are called the peripheral nervous system. And there are sections that will help you to do things on your own. They are called the somatic nerves. And there are sections that will do things autonomously. They do them without your control. They are called the autonomic nervous system. Those things that control your ability to run away from danger and to rest are all autonomous. You don't have any specific control over sleeping. If your body wants to sleep, it will make you sleep without your natural control. Or if you want to, you have to run away from danger. You can even jump over a tall fence without your natural thinking about. So all these things happen because of our autonomous nervous system. Whatever you are able to do, you do them because you are wired. There are cables that connect you all over. Everything has a specific cable coming all the way to it. Those that will help you to be sympathetic, to be energetic to do things. And then those that are helping you to relax things, parasympathetic. They have specific roles to play and functions to play. I won't talk much about it. Interestingly, in our intestines, the stomach the small intestines, the large intestines, there are also billions of these cables that help your digestion and your absorption. They are called the enteric nervous system. Enteric nervous system. And these are all coordinated by the brain. Very interesting. Now, if you can sit on a bicycle and ride smoothly, you are balanced, all have been controlled by the smaller brain called the cerebellum. Now, the reason why we are able to drive out of town, sometimes you are on the highway, you are driving, and you don't really remember that you crossed that road. Your hand is just being controlled by something else. Those things are done by what they call the cerebellum, our cerebellum, part of the brain called the little brain, helps you to maintain posture and coordinate things. If you can do this, because if you can do this, or you point to your nose and maintain it, or stand still without falling, all those that you can do. If you raise your head towards a particular side and your body says you are turning, you are spinning, that is controlled by the cerebellum. When you sit on a merry-go-round and you go round, and you stop, you feel like vomiting, you feel nauseating, all that is being controlled by the cerebellum. So some people have challenges with the cerebellum, and they may
Luego la escuchamos ahora.
And they may have symptoms of spinning, what they call vertigo. They may feel like spin.
No pasa nada, gracias a Dios ya estás aquí. Sigamos.
Abeso, I don't know whether you are asking a question.
Sí.
It's okay. He says it's, yeah, because you should continue.
All right.
Entendido.
Now the brainstem does all the dirty work. Your chances of breathing, this part of the brain, the brainstem. If you can breathe, if your heart can beat, all that is controlled by the brainstem. And remember that this is a bundle of cables or wires, a lot of cables coming all the way to do this. And your life is sustained because of the brainstem. So if you have a brainstem problem, then you don't have any compatibility with life. You can't live. You can't live. All right. Now, let me talk about the appendages of the brain, about our ear. There's an ear, external ear, where noise goes through, comes all the way to what we call the tympanic membrane, like a drum. And the drum picks the sound waves transmitted through these bones and into the ear for interpretation. And it goes to the temporal lobe of our brain for interpretation. The ear also helps us to keep balancing. The coordination between the ear and then our cerebellum, our smaller brain, is intricate. It's intricate. So this was talking about sound waves passes through here, hit what they call the tympanic membrane. The tympanic membrane. And then that is where the eardrum, that's the eardrum. That's where the sound is transmitted through these very tiny bones, step, incus, and malleus, for interpretation to be done. So these are very smaller bones. The smallest bone in our body is called the stapes. This is the smallest bone in our body. It's in the ear. It's called the stapes. So the sound hits drums on this eardrum, and the waves are transmitted through these smaller bones. The malleus is like hammer. The incus is like an anvil, what they use for the blacksmith. And then the stapes So these smaller bones will move, they will oscillate, and that oscillation, the movement of these bones creates the sound, and the brain can interpret those movements as words. And that word that you are hearing could be, what do you call it, a particular language, either French, English, Spanish, or Portuguese. All that just by movement of bones, and that is interpreted as language for you. Our God is so wonderful because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. How can just movement of bones create language for us? This is only done by a divine being, and we need to go out there to let people know about him. Now, how we talk about the ear, how about the eye? Very interesting organ of our body. Eye is insulated by fat. It has layers where tears are produced from, and there are muscles that are around it, blood vessels and nerves, what we call the optic nerve, for us to see. If you take the eye and you cut it into two halves, you are going to see these sections, the anterior chamber here and the posterior chamber here. It's covered by a very strong tissue. One section in the front called the cornea. That's what you are seeing. And then it's clear tissue, and then the other fibrous thick tissue called the sclera at the back of the eye. So light will pass through the cornea, through the lens, and it will focus over here, called what they call the retina, for you to perceive the light. And that light passes through this cable called the optic nerve. It's a large cable that collects all the light, passes through this side of our right to the back of our brain called the occipital lobe for interpretation to be made. God is so interesting. It just beat our imaginations. So the retina, this is a retina. This is a part of the brain, the eye, that interprets all the light coming. So whatever you are seeing now is only light that's passing through the eyes. And that light is converted to forms that the brain interprets as image that you are seeing now. Whatever you are seeing on your phone is a light that goes through your eyes and all the way to the back of the brain, and the brain will do that interpretation for you. And it's done in billions of times, and it's done adequately. So if anybody has a challenge with any section of the eye, the person may become blind. And of course, people who have lost the ability to interpret or to transmit the light wave at the retina, they become permanently blind. You cannot repair this one easily, I should say. So people with hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, they end up having retinal challenges, and then they are unable to see adequately. So blindness can happen because of this section of the eye. It can also become blind when the fluid collected at this side builds up so much pressure that it destroys your chance of seeing, what we call glaucoma. When the fluid is produced at the anterior chamber, it's supposed to be able to be absorbed back into circulation. But in some people, that doesn't happen. And the fluid builds up in this section of the eye. And then because there's too much pressure built up in that section of the eye, they are unable to make the section of the eye work functional or become more functional, and then they end up losing their sight, what they call glaucoma. And the second most leading cause of blindness, or I should say the first leading cause of blindness in our part of the world. If anybody becomes blind, there's a high chance that this person had glaucoma, and it's highly common in Ghana and West in Nigeria as well. If anybody is blind in Ghana or Nigeria, by the data, the chance that the person had glaucoma is about 70%. These people are there. We need to go out there as missionaries to assess the eye very well, and then manage these things in the early stages, because if it's seen early, you can prevent permanent blindness. That is what the missions is all about. We have to go there and do this work. So this is the lens. This is a lens that opens up or closes up, adjusts itself to allow the light to be focused. The lens work is to help the light to be focused on this part of the brain or the eye called the retina. That is what it's supposed to do. So people who have diabetes, the lens becomes opaque. It becomes cloudy, and they are unable to see the light coming through clearly, and they become blind. It's called so that's opacification. Also prevents the light from passing through easily to hit on the retina. It's called cataract. And cataract is another cause of reversible blindness. There are people out there who will need cataract surgery, and if you take missionaries to go all the way to help replace these disease lenses, the cataract that are being formed, to make people see again. So someone was blind, but now I can see because the cataract surgery has been done for them. The iris, you see, that black thing that you see actually is where the lens is, but you can see a brownish thing around it. It's called the iris. It's what's helping the light. If there's too much light, it will dim, it will close down. If there's little light, it will open up so that the more light can penetrate the eye. This is the iris. This one is the iris, and that's what you see here. This is the iris. This is the iris. And this thing here you see is the lens. It is behind the iris. And that hole that the iris creates is a pupil. So people in the dark room, your eyes will dilate so they can see clearly. In the light, your eyes will close down so that you can, you see little light coming through. You don't have to have so much light going into your eyes at any time. Anyway, so that ends us at a section of the brain and its appendages and all that. There are so much to be learned over there, but for the scope of this work, we would end that section over there. Now let's dwell on the skeleton. There are 206 bones that makes our body. All these bones from your head to your toes, there are 206 independent bones or single bones. They can be one on the left, one on the right, but we count them as one. 206 of these bones in your body to give you the form that you have and to protect your inner organs. And it helps to perform all your activities. Bones. There are two sections, like it follows the structure like the central nervous system. The head section to this side, your chest. This side is called the axial skeleton. And anything that is connecting to it is called the appendicular skeleton. The appendicular skeleton. This is appendages. So the axial skeleton is your cranium or your skull. Your skull, then the vertebral column at the back, and the rib cage form the axial skeleton. That's where all the load of the body begins. The load, where everything, all the vital organs, the brain, your heart, your lungs, your abdominal structures, they are all housed here. Very, very important structure indeed. There are long bones like the ones at the shoulder coming down to your elbow. There are flat bones, the ones on our head. There are very short bones, are the ones at our wrist. And then irregular bones like the bones at our back. The vertebral column, they are irregular. These are all
about the church.
Well-structured bones that help us to do all that we can do. Now, until you are about 21 years, the bone will grow because of this nutritious section called the epiphysis. That's where the bone growth happens. So as it develops new bone, the bone begins to stretch and stretch and stretch. So all that is attached to the epiphysis, we have the metaphysis, the diaphysis, and then so that's epiphysis, the metaphysis, and diaphysis. So don't worry about these big jargons. But remember that until you are about 21 years, the bone will still have to grow. Some people who have disease of their epiphyseal plate or the physis don't have their bones growing any longer, and they become stunted, or that part of the body doesn't become long anymore. So once it stops growing, it becomes shorter than the other one. So that's how come we have people who do not grow taller any longer at a point in time, because their physis refuse to grow again or becomes deformed. The bones have attachment where our muscles have to sit. These are the attachments of the bone. All these are some sections of the bone that we have in our body. I don't want to worry you much about this, but if you want to go into more details, you can take it and then the slides as I will give or share with you, and you go into more details with them. Yes. So the joint is where two bones meet. One bone here, another bone here, they come to meet at a joint. So there are several forms of it. So the bones that form our head or the skull, the cranium, meet at a very firm joint called the sutures. These ones, these are joints. They are airtight to prevent anything from leaking into or out of the head. This one too, on our hand, sorry, the arm, two bones there, in between the bones, there is this firm structure called interosseous membrane that form a joint between the two. We have all these in the joint between our teeth and then the mandibles. They are all they are joint. We have the temporal joint like this between the two bones. We have the physis, talk about where the groove plate is. We have one like the one between your rib cage and your breastbone, the sternum. This and this together meet at a cartilaginous section called cartilaginous joint. The same thing over here at the back. So the joint can move in several planes or single plane. So your hip can move in several planes. And then your elbow can only move in one plane. It's called a hinge joint. Your neck can move this way or that way, and also this way and that way. It's called a saddle joint and all that. So these are the forms of joint. Now, if you see these two joints, synovial joints, there's a fluid that is collected in between the two bones that cushions up the joint. If you lose this synovial membrane, there will be no collection. And the bones will sit together, and chronic inflammation will happen, and then what they call osteoarthritis, inflammation of the joint will happen. And these people come with stiff joints, painful joint all the time. And it's a very common presentation in most of our hospitals. Most people come with joint pains at the knee, at the elbow, at the wrist, all because of destruction of the synovial membrane. When you are overweight, you put more weight or pressure on the joint, and that pressure kind of destroys the synovial membrane, and the bones begin to touch each other. Once the bones touch each other, it will erode. And as it erodes, you are likely to lose the functional ability of the joint and you come with pain. So that's what I talked about. So this is what I talked about. This at the hip. You can move the hip in several, this set of this hip can be moved in several directions. It's called a multi-axial joint. This one, a hip joint. All right. So the bones have ligaments. These strong structures hold the bones together, called ligaments, like the one at our knee. This bone from our thigh, this bone from our leg, they meet here at the knee joint. And these are strong cables called the ligament. The footballers, when they have injuries at the knee, they destroy some of these cables or the ligament, the ACL, the PCL, and you have to have surgeries done for them. Some people have had injuries that made them lose these ligaments and they're unable to coordinate their activity accordingly. At the shoulders, here at the shoulder, very solid ligament can hold the shoulder joint together. If you destroy it, your hand can easily dislocate. Your arm can easily dislocate. All right. We are about to raise the curtains down very soon. And the back, our back, the vertebral column, what people normally say is spinal cord. This is not a spinal cord. This one is not spinal cord. It's a vertebral column. It is behind these bones that our spinal cord is. The spinal cord runs through this side of the bone. It's well protected. This is where the spinal cord passes all the way to the brain. This is a well protected structure. Now you can see the cartilages in between the bones. If you lose these cartilages, the bones will sit together and they will, once they sit together, friction will occur, inflammation will occur, and the person will come with pain all the time. The disc can also move backwards to sit on the spinal cord, to impinge on the spinal cord. If that happens, the person will feel sensations, numbness, hot flashes on the section of the leg, what they normally call the sciatica. Sciatica, very common. People are taking money for these things in Ghana here. Very painful sensation at the back of your buttocks, all the way to the back of your thighs, to your legs. And sometimes you cannot even walk. Again, sciatica is a very common presentation now here because of this problem. All right. So that's the vertebral column. This is where the spinal cord is housed. Here. It's housed inside. So this protection here is in front. This is at the back. Now, when you tap your back, you are actually feeling this one. This is what you are feeling. And deep down, this is where the spinal cord is. When you hit your tummy and press deep, if you're able to go so deep low, those who don't have pot belly, if you can go very low, you are going to feel this from here. This from your tummy side. So the spinal cord is well protected from your side to this is from your side. This from your left and from your right. This is what you. So the spinal cord is here and is well protected. Unfortunately, there is a cushion that is sitting here. We can easily go and impinge on the spinal cord to cause all the problems that we normally see about the spinal cord. People will think that you have been poisoned by some people and all that because of spinal cord. And people are taking money for these people who have cord compression. It's our duty to go out there to explain things to them for them to understand and seek proper medical attention. This is the spinal cord I'll be talking about. This is where the spinal cord is. The spinal cord. All right, so it comes all the way from down all the way to the top. As it goes up, it becomes bigger because more cables are joining it. This is a disc. This is an important structure of a vertebral column. It gives cushion, prevents these two bones from sitting on each other. Unfortunately, so as you carry load on your head, the compression is taken by this cushion. This is where the spinal cord runs. This is the spinal cord where it is here. Some people, this cable has moved backwards, called disc protrusion or disc herniation. And as it goes backwards, it hits on the spinal cord and compress the spinal cord so bad that the cable can no longer coordinate information from your legs, from your hands. And such people will come with numbness of their legs, hot flashes in their legs, and all that. And this is a very debilitating condition that people have been struggling with. Even those of us in this program, some of us have had these painful experiences in their legs, and it's consistently causing them trouble. They spend so much money and they don't get healing. It's our duty to explain these things to them. And for these people, you may want to do surgery to correct the deformity up there. Sometimes you can also do some injections to prevent them from having permanent disability. If the nerve is truncated, then you cannot even walk again. You may not be able to walk again. All right. So all these are just to point out that for all the sections of the vertebral column, the ones at the neck, this is how they look like. The ones at the neck. The ones at the back, at the upper back, where the rib cage is, called the thoracic vertebra, this is how they look like. The ones at the very lower side, the thoracic, so the lumbar vertebra, this is how they look like. Very strong ones to carry all the weight from up and then transfer it to the sacrum. This is the sacrum here. And the sacrum will transfer it to our hips. And the weight will go down from our femur downwards. The spinal cord. So the hundreds of millions of cables come from our legs. They come from our legs to form these yellow structures here. These are the nerves. And as they come together, they all bundle up together and they begin to form what we call the spinal cord around the L2, L1 section. That's the spinal cord. So if you have any impingement of the nerves over here, you're going to feel the sensation down below. Any impingement of these things here, you feel the sensation below. So if you feel that you have numbness of your legs, it's not because the leg is diseased, it's because the spinal cord has a problem. The spinal cord has a problem here. Possibly the bones are striking on the cord so that it cannot really breathe, it cannot be independently free from this impingement, and that will cause the hot flashes, the paresthesia, the numbness of your hand. All right. So having talked about the muscles, the muscle can only move because of, the skeleton. The skeleton can move only because of the muscles. All these muscles help you to do all that. So there are muscles that connect the skeletons together. And so we have three types. Skeletal muscles, the ones on the heart, and the ones in our intestines, or the smooth muscles. These are well coordinated. Then for each muscle, there's a particular nerve or cable wire that comes all the way to that muscle to help you to move your hand up or your hand down to your leg, to walk, all those things that you are doing. There's a cable that connects the muscle, and as the muscle contracts, it pulls it for you to move or relaxes. I won't worry you much about all these structures. It's just for those who want to learn more. about them, but these are the muscles. A lot of them in our body. If you can sing the muscles that you need to do so. I said some time back that you need only 13 muscles on your face to smile, but you need about 47 of the muscles on your face to frown. So you need more energy to frown than to smile. You need about 4 times the energy for smiling to frown. So it's always good to smile because you don't spend so much energy smiling. All right. So there are many muscles of our face that help us to make our facial expressions. And you need 47 such muscles to frown your face. And then only 13 to smile that way. All right. So I've talked about all these things. The muscles help us to do that. So that's why you raise the curtains for today. And I allow for your questions if you have them, so we can attempt to answer them. Thank you very much. You can also post your questions as chat, so that those who are not directly able to speak here, you can post your questions as a chat so that we will attempt answering them. Thank you very much. Let's have questions and answers. All right, so do I see any hand now? Okay, Fidel. Please unmute yourself.
Buenas tardes. Sí, muchas gracias, doctor, por la presentación. Y agradezco también a Dios por hacer un cuerpo maravilloso que nadie puede entender fácilmente. Y le agradezco también por la inteligencia que le ha dado usted, doctor. Ahora, mi pregunta es, hay una relación, vale, hablando del esqueleto humano, vemos directamente lo que llamamos la medicina ortopedia. ¿Sí? ¿Sí? Ok. Estaba diciendo, hablando del esqueleto, vemos lo que llamamos la medicina ortopedia. Entonces, yo quiero saber si la ortopedia y
Okay, so yeah, can someone help us interpret what Fidel asks about?
¿Me escuchas?
Yes, so can anyone help us interpret what Fidel asked about?
¿Aló?
Yeah, hello.
¿Me escuchas?
Charles is not on the call now.
Okay. Sí, estoy. ¿Puedo hablar? Ok. Quería saber si hay una relación entre la acupuntura y la ortopedia.
Okay, Fidel, can you test in a chat so that we are able to get interpretation easily?
Ok. Sí. Voy a escribir.
Right. Okay. So
sí, voy a escribir.
In a chat, and then I would interpret for you. So let me take from Bernadette.
Yes, thank you, doctor. Good afternoon
Good afternoon.
or good morning if you are in the US. Okay, my question is this. Firstly, I got surgery and they did a epidural injection anesthetic to me. After it's been now 4 months that they operate me. So I'm having time to time like numbness on my right leg. What is it? Did they destroy something is in my back or what is it? I want to know, please.
Okay, so this is what happened. So when they did the epidural, no, the dura is a covering of the spinal cord and the brain. Let me use this as interpretation properly. Highlighter. Okay. So this is the dura, the covering of the spinal cord and also the brain. So when they inject or instill drugs, they are kind of instant drug on top of the dura. It's called epidural.
Yes.
That one will block all the functions that the nerve will play, including you not able to lift your leg during the surgery. Now, when the drugs effect goes down, then you can do the activities of the nerve again. Now, in some instances, as a needle goes to the epidural, sometimes the needle comes all the way into the nerve, right? It kind of impinges on the nerve or penetrates the nerve, and that kind of cause some damage within the nerve. Instead of going only the epidural section, because the nerve, the needle was going blindly, it can go pierce the spinal cord in some instances, and that may be causing the weakness of your legs. But it will take time. It will actually go off over time. It won't just go in one day. Just continue with your physiotherapy, make your movement, do a lot of exercises, and over time it will resolve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Doctor, what I'm doing so that during the day I won't have pain, I'm drinking magnesium, the one that is 250, and then I drink artisanal soy milk. So in the morning and evening time. So like yesterday I took it. Right now I don't have any numbness, any pain of my right leg. May I continue to do so?
Yes.
Because
yes.
it ease my pain, it ease that numbness and everything that I feel bad after the surgery.
Okay. So that's a very good thing. In fact, as Professor McLean talked about these elements, magnesium, selenium, and all that, they are what helps the brain and the cord to be well nourished. These materials over here, these ones that protect the nerves, they need magnesium to function. These ones, they are all over. They are in the spinal cord too. They need magnesium to function.
Okay.
So taking them will enhance their activity, but continue to do a lot of exercises, and that will also aid in the healing process. All right. Thank you. Someone is talking about what the English name for Anansi. So those who are Ghanaians, they know about Anansi. It's what we call paresthesia. Paresthesia, Paresthesia. The numbness, so numbness is paresthesia. All right, so let me take the next question from Narcis Nemlin. Narcis.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Doctor, for the wonderful lesson. I have two questions.
Sorry, hold on a minute. So, Fidel, kindly get me the test so I can speak to them. Okay, good. I have the. So after Mr. Narcis, I will answer Fidel's question. Sorry. All right, so please go ahead.
Yeah, I have two questions. The first question is that, can a glaucoma be healed or can be treated? This is my first question. And secondly, I noticed that those who go to the ages of 200 or maybe 100 and something, some years, their muscles can be reducing, can be flattened. What cause of that?
Sorry, the second question again. I didn't catch it. Well,
I'm saying that those who live for almost 100 or 150 years, whereas we notice that their muscles can be reducing.
Yes.
Maybe due to lack of food, I don't know, or maybe lack of drinking water, I don't know. But the muscle can be reducing, can be flat. I don't know what's the cause. That's my two questions. Thank you, Doctor.
Good. So glaucoma, in the first question, glaucoma is irreversible in most instances. Yeah, Fedor, I'm going to answer that question. So just hold on a minute. I'll come back to you. Glaucoma is an irreversible damage that we do to our sorry. Okay, so Fedor, I'll come to your question. I've been able to do a translation. I'll answer it very soon for you. So sorry for that. But so glaucoma, as the pressure continues to build up, it kind of damages our chances of seeing again. So it is something that is highly unlikely to be reversed. But if you see it earlier, you can actually work on it and get it resolved. And then as you grow, the muscles begin to become smaller because you need more energy to survive. The food that you are eating may not be adequate, and the muscles have to be used as energy. They are energy stocks for you. So as you grow, you spend more energy. You need to convert the muscles into energy for you, and the muscle begin to grow lean. The other thing is that whatever muscle you have, if you don't use the muscle, it will become lean, to become smaller. It's called atrophy. So when people are old, they are unable to do most of the activities. So their muscles become smaller over time, and that's called atrophy. So that's that for that. Okay, so regarding Fidel Segobe, your question is, there are patients who have problems in the spine at the back who do not find a solution in orthopedics, but in acupuncture, they find a solution. So what could be the difference between the two specialties? So we're asking about acupuncture and then orthopedics. Okay, so remember that, let me go back to my slides. I talked about the sensations that we feel on our body, right? And these sensations are well.
Doctor said, please give me the host.
Okay, sorry. Okay, well, I think we have it now.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So these body parts are well mapped, right? They are called the dermatomes, and then also the myotomes, the muscles. Every one of these body parts are connected to the brain. So in acupuncture, they locate specific part of the skin that has connection with the brain, and by maneuvering their way to see the connectivity between the skin and the brain, they're able to solve some problems, usually at the back. The orthopedics deals much with the bone. So there are kind of a difference between the orthopedics, what the orthopedics does, and what people do. All right. So sometimes, just by way of doing this acupuncture stuff, people get some kind of mind healing. Their problems may stop. Yeah, so that's the difference between acupuncture and then the orthopedics. Orthopedics is about the bones and the muscles around it, whereas acupuncture is about the skin and then the network of cables that connect it. I hope, Fidel, we've been able to get an answer to that. I don't know, but maybe I'll respond to that. I'll give you a test of that explanation as well. to help or aid you in the interpretation. I will take the next from Biania.
Yes.
The next question, I'll take it from, yes.
Yes.
Please go ahead and ask the question.
Thank you, doctor. I have a problem when I try to stand up. If I sit down, after a while, trying to stand up, I have a lot of pain.
Okay.
So I can move without problem, but when I sit down and try to stand up, there I have a lot of pain. What can cause that, and what can I do to try to...
Patrick?
Okay, so there are a lot of things that could be happening. Where is the pain most intense? Is it at your back or your knee?
In my back.
Good. So that's where the issue is. Let me see if I have the skeleton here. Good. So this is what is happening. Now, as I said, you are able to stand, walk, sit, all because of this bone called the vertebral column. Now, the bones that we see, there are about 33 of them. In between the bones are fat or pad, right? Cartilages that insulate or give support to the bones. The spinal cord runs behind. Now, if these cartilages or the disc begin to move backwards, sitting on the bones, on the cord, you're going to have some intense pain anytime there's movement. So we need to investigate. One, you have to take an X-ray of your spine, usually at the back, lower back. And then whatever you see, you may need to also do an MRI so they can see how the cord, if there's any impingement on the spinal cord, we would put you on some physio exercises, and perhaps to the extremes, to the very extreme, not early, to very extremes, you may need to do some surgery to relieve the spinal cord of the compression being mounted upon it by the disc, intervertebral disc over here. So that's what is much of the problem can be because of this disc in between the bones. They can easily sit on the spinal cord, easily, when you make any movement. So that's what is happening. All right, I'll take the next from Anan Kweku Anan.
Hello, Dr. Said. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation. My question is, you said something about right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. You said that if something happens on the right brain, it's going to affect on the left side. And here we have so many people who have been facing such a problem like this. So what kind of thing that we can maybe use to help them to come out with this kind of problems?
Okay, so if I get you right, those who have, let's say, stroke.
Yes, please.
The likes. Good. So stroke will happen. Stroke is what they call cerebrovascular accident. It happens when the brain ceases to function, all because it doesn't get blood. In fact, at any instance, you need 1/4 of your blood to be moving to the brain all the time. So if you have, let's say, 4 liters of blood in your body, at any moment, you need about 1 liter of blood to go into the brain for the brain to fully function.
Okay.
Those with stroke, blood doesn't move to that part of the brain that controls the weakened body. So let's say you can't raise your hand or your legs. The reason is that blood is not able to go to that part of the brain that controls your hand and your leg. So, and usually it's caused by high blood pressure and diabetes, usually.
Okay.
So if those conditions are there, we need to control the blood pressure, the diabetes, give some medication to allow blood to now move into the brain adequately. And exercises will relieve the problem that you find. Until blood moves back into the brain section, that part of the brain will never able to work again. That's what defines with stroke. All right. So I'll take from Simeon.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doc.
Welcome, sir.
Since he started these lectures on anatomy and physiology, it has been wonderful. And some of us that doesn't have a medical background, sometimes it seems to be difficult. The only thing I know I'm actually getting very well is knowing these body parts and then coming to know how to take care of them. Like you talked about smiling and frowning and all of that, you know. So, but my major question now, why I called in is, I just woke up like 2 nights ago. I woke up with pains on two of my feet, the two legs from my feet. The toes were as if I was having muscle pull. And when I woke up, it was very, very painful, very, very painful. I had to.
Perfectamente.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, I had to do a hot food bath and had to drink some warm water before I got myself and put on stockings on my legs. So I don't really know where it's coming from. And sometimes on my left foot, I'll be having some sensation, you know, as if it's shocking me or something.
Yeah, la configuración.
Really know. You talked about all the wires going from the leg up and all of that. I want to know what could be responsible for all those kind of feelings.
Okay, so I think this picture, if you see the picture now, explains all what you have been having. Yes, it's about the bones at the back. It's about the disc in between the bones and the spinal cord behind them. Over time, the bones become weak, the disc also weakens and begins to move backwards. As the disc moves backwards, it goes to impinge on the spinal cord to cause all that you are having. You need two things. One is to get an X-ray done, and eventually we would have to do what they call an MRI to assess the nature of the spinal cord. Whenever you have these sensations of your body, it means that the cables that are transmitting the information are not doing so adequately. That is all that it means. So we need to really work on that as soon as practicable to get this result.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome. I'll take from Abigail, then I'll go to. Oh, please, someone in the Spanish group wants to ask a question. Watara, can you get us a question on the chat, and then maybe we can. Those on the Spanish side, someone wants to ask a question.
Dice, you can talk.
Yeah, sure. You can ask a question.
Buenas tardes, ¿me escuchas?
Yes, so you can go ahead and ask your question.
Buenas tardes, ¿me escuchas?
Is someone speaking? I can't hear.
Siga con la pregunta, mi hermano.
No, es que solo quiero decirle que aun cuando no se haya arreglado el problema, pero la interpretación que está haciendo en español nos sirve de algo importante, o sea, cuando no arreglen el problema. Eso es lo que quería decirle.
Okay, so I think the question was asked, can someone get the question in English so that we're able to answer the question for you? Our Spanish colleagues.
C'est Patrick.
Is someone helping us with the interpretation?
Yeah, mire, el hermano le estaba diciendo a usted, aunque no haya una buena transmisión entre usted y el doctor Seth, pero la traducción nos ayuda bastante.
Okay, he says even though they don't understand what you are saying, their interpretation is helping them very well.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much for that. So someone who bears my name, obviously it's not to myself, but asking, my question is, what is the connection between the myelin and our spirituality? And what can we do to improve the health of our myelin? Oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, anatomically, the myelin is a structure that covers the cables. Like, it's like the insulator for your wires, your cables, electrical cables in the house. So, if it's not there, you can easily get shocked by the. So this is a myelin. This one is a myelin sheath. These turquoise.
Okay, seguimos pues.
So, regarding spirituality, you are actually dealing with two structures of the brain, where our emotions are and where we can reason out. So, you need the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, to reason out of whatever you're doing. So that is it. Abigail, sorry. So spirituality and myelin. Spirituality, that one is more of higher thoughts. The myelin is a firm structure that protects the cable, the wires. Please, Abigail can go ahead and ask a question. Abigail, sorry.
Okay, thank you, doctor. And my question is concerned about my mom. She's aged now, around more than 70 years, and she has been complaining of waist pain. And we reported to hospital, and they did a scan at the back, and they said the spine is being affected because there's degeneration of some parts B, and since then it has affected her posture. She can't even stand straight. She has been given pain relievers and other medications, and she's done physios, and she's now with support with the corset to support the waist and the back. But it seems all this thing, nothing has been changed. It seems she's still changing. The posture is still keep on changing. And she also complains of pain too much. She's not doing any vigorous activities now. She's just at home, and we are doing everything for her. But I want to know, concerning done for her to be free from that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abigail. And it's so unfortunate that your mom has to go through these problems.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
And once the nerves are damaged, it takes a long time for repair to happen. So it's quite unfortunate. It's going to take a long journey until. Sorry, let me answer this call from Patrick, our Spanish interpreter.
there are other people, French speaking and Spanish speaking, they can also ask their question.
Okay, so we having a challenge. So I'm going to speak to the class right now. Those on the French and Spanish section are unable to ask their question. So I'm going to do this way. We take one English question, one French, one Spanish, then back to the cycle again. Right. I think that'll be fair. So Patrick on the Spanish side is on the call with me now on WhatsApp. So whenever there's a question that I cannot hear from this side, he will let us know. He will ask a question directly from here so that we can all benefit from these things. Thank you very much. Patrick, so we can go ahead. Let me answer this question from Abigail. Sorry for that.
Hola.
Sí, ahora si tenéis una pregunta, podéis hablar y yo voy a llamar al doctor directamente por WhatsApp. ¿Vale?
Ok. De hecho, yo tenía una pregunta. Sí, en relación a lo que es la columna vertebral, ¿sí? Como el doctor será explicado. ¿Qué problemas podemos esperar si permanecemos en pie durante mucho tiempo? Gracias.
Él ha cerrado mi micrófono, pero yo voy a intentar.
Okay.
Okay, Patrick, are we good?
Yes, Dr. Seth?
Yes.
Yes, our brother from Equatorial Guinea is asking if somebody comes up for a long time, what problem will he or she have on spinal cord?
Okay, so his question is about standing for a long time. Now, our posture, let me go back to where the...
Sí, ¿qué problemas o sea, qué enfermedad o problemas podríamos ver como consecuencia?
So this is, and I think I can answer Abigail's question as well. So whether you are sitting or you are standing, whatever position that you find yourself, you are, this arrangement should be there, well aligned.
Okay.
Hello, Doug, are you around? Please, let's wait. I think maybe Dr. Seth is struggling with his lines. Maybe he has a problem with the network. Please, let's wait. He'll be back very soon.
Ok, entendido.
buenas tardes, hermano. Yo tengo una preocupación. La vez pasada yo había pedido que me añadieran en el grupo WhatsApp, porque yo soy de habla francés y no se hizo. Y la otra preocupación es que la clase que vimos la semana pasada sobre el sistema circulatorio no nos lo mandaron en nuestros mails. Todavía no recibimos esta clase. Esas son las preocupaciones que yo tengo.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. My computer went off.
Está bien. Pero la vez pasada yo había escrito igual y parece que no se leen los mensajes que se escriben en el chat.
Okay, Watara, can you make me a co-host so that I could share my screen?
Ya, está bien, gracias.
Yes.
Sí, es esto.
Hello, Atara.
Yes, Pastor.
Have you responded?
After the lectures, then we talk about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
He couldn't receive anyway the videos you sent last time because our mail wasn't added.
Okay, so I'll work on that one right after the lectures. Then we see how we can resolve that. Okay, so
Okay.
all right. So I'll take the next question from. Was that a French question that was coming through? I didn't actually understand. If
Sí, le escucho. Le escucho.
Okay, so can you interpret what the question was about?
Il y a déjà une question postée là. Le mécanisme qui justifie être gaucher ou bien
Voy a escribir en
droitier.
francés. D'accord. Ok, merci. D'accord. Ok, ça marche. Ah, ok, d'accord. Donc, je vais écrire sur le chat. Merci.
Okay, so do you have the interpretation now?
Patrick.
Entonces,
para ser añadidos en esa plataforma de WhatsApp, ¿cómo hacemos? ¿Hay que enviar el número o qué?
Hello, is anyone helping us with the interpretation of the question?
There is a question about left and high-handed. How can you explain left or high-handed?
Come again, sir.
How you explain left-handed or right-handed?
Okay. All right.
Ok. ¿Y email es el, cómo se dice? ¿El correo? Ok, gracias.
Someone is also asking the question.
Gracias.
So the right and left hemispheres, right, have different controls. When someone is more right dominant,
Okay, ¿me das tu número de teléfono, por favor?
your left part of the body does much of the work that you do. So you are well connected on the right, so that you are left-handed. You can write with your left hand easily. That's your right part of the brain is more enhanced in terms of the motor work. They say for their left brain, their left part of the brain is more connected than the right. They are able to do more of the motor activities on their right. But most people, about 80% of the people in the world, dominant on their left.
Buenas tardes, Patrick.
So they can do most of the things on
yo también quería saber a quién se debe mandar toda esa información para ponerse, para ser añadido.
Please, is someone also asking the question or? Because I can hear someone else speaking.
Vale.
So the dominance of
Sí.
our brain.
Vale. Ese es su número, ¿no? 0027.
Yeah, Mr. Roberto, let me answer the question.
227.
When I'm done, I will allow for a question from the Portuguese side.
Vale, ya se lo envío. Muchas gracias.
All right, so that's what explains it. So those who have more connections on their right brain do more of their work on the left part of the body. That's their dominant. And those who have more connections, cables on their left brain can do more of the work on their right part of the body. So most of the people in the world are right dominant, and most few of us are left dominant. So that's what, it's not only about the cable, the connections that help you to do the motor activities. That's it about dominance. Anyway, so let me take the next question, this one from English side, then I'll come to Portuguese or the Spanish. Amevozi Kingsley, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Pastor. My question, the first one, have to do with the burning sensation that you talked of earlier. That if oxygen is not being carried to some parts of the body, it makes you feel some burning sensation. I once suffered the same thing, and when I went to my doctor, per the lab test, he told me that I was suffering from neuritis. When I came home and referred to our health books, I realized it was a vitamin B1 deficiency. May I know the connection between the two? That one and what you've said. And again, if someone is suffering from stroke and the person is not able to lift the hand or move the leg, but when you touch it, he feels the pains. At the same time, we are told that it's because oxygen is not flowing adequately from the blood, which means that the blood is impeded, so oxygen doesn't go up and down adequately. That's why the person is not able to move the hand or lift the hand. How come that the same person will be feeling the pains when you touch the same hand that is not able to go up? Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. So the first question about these elements, magnesium and all those things, helping to nourish the nerves. We are actually referring to these structures that protect the nerves. They need the nutrients, right, to help the nerve to function well. These ones, these are the ones that need the nutrient to help protect the nerves. So if you don't have enough nutrients in your body, the magnesium, the selenium, the zinc, and the rest, then the nerves are not going to be well protected to work adequately.
Okay.
So we need them to help the nerve to function. Now, touching on while the body is unable to move because of stroke, but you can feel sensation. Remember that all the executions, the movement of the body is controlled by the frontal lobe, right? Okay. However, feelings, sensations are controlled by the parietal lobe. So there are two different lobes of the brain that controls, one for the movement, another part of the brain for the feelings. If there is a stroke, meaning that there is a limitation of blood to the frontal lobe only, which is quite common, then the person is unable to move because that section of the brain does not receive the blood. Okay. However, if you have limitation of blood to both the area of sensation and the area of movement, then the person will not feel anything and cannot also move. So not all stroke are just a matter of movement alone. They can be a mixture of not feeling and equally not being able to move. Others too, they cannot speak because the frontal lobe, the entire lobe is affected. If they can't speak, it means they are unable to interpret whatever you are saying, or they can understand you, but they cannot make any movement of the body. So it's by way of which section of the brain is affected that determines the nature of the stroke the person has. We don't have one type of presentation of stroke. It can present in several ways based on the part of the brain that is diseased. Thank you. I'll take the next question from our. Well, I don't already have a question from the Spanish class.
Sí, no hay preguntas. No, podemos continuar.
Sí, yo tengo una pregunta.
Songa.
Yo quiero saber, vimos lo del sistema nervioso hoy, ¿y qué relación, en dónde es que se produce la demencia? ¿Cómo es que se produce la demencia? La demencia de Alzheimer, por ejemplo.
Yeah, dementia. Okay, Patrick, let me pick this question. I think someone was asking about dementia.
She says, how does dementia occur and the Alzheimer?
Yes.
How does it occur?
Okay, so how does dementia occurs, right? If I got the question right.
In which part of the brain
Sí, mi pregunta es la
the
siguiente.
person have dementia and Alzheimer? In which part of the brain? During the course, the doctor said frontal brain.
Estaba diciendo la pregunta, ¿cómo es que se produce la demencia?
Yes, so usually the frontal lobe. Yes, Patrick.
Yes, our sister is asking the manifestation of dementia.
Okay, so you need the myelin sheet, this cable protection, to be there all the time for you, right? If this protection of the nerve is destroyed, then the nerve is exposed. Just like you have electrical wires coming to your house. If the wires are naked, it means that if anybody touches it, it will shock you, right? So the destruction of these cover, the insulators, destroys the function of the nerve. And the person is unable to coordinate activities very well. And it manifests as dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and all those other things. The Parkinson's disease. And then dementia as it is. All right. So let me pick, Patrick, is that all? Okay. So let me pick a question from Yao Paul Newman. Mr. Newman, please kindly ask your question.
Okay, está bien, gracias. Ya, gracias.
Welcome, ma'am. So, Mr. Paul Yao, can you ask your question?
Hermana, buenas tardes. Envíale tu correo, tu número a Patrick para que te añadan en el grupo de WhatsApp.
Ya yo puse mi número en el chat.
Please, is someone asking a question?
No, quiere que se lo envíes por WhatsApp. Él ha dado su número ahí. De hecho, lo anoté.
Patrick, por favor, ponga tu número en el chat para que yo lo pueda coger, porque ahorita cuando lo diste yo no lo pude copiar. Así yo te lo mando directo. Ah, ya, está bien. Un momento.
Hello. Hello.
Dice 002.
Okay, please, let me continue. Mr. Eli Klim Asari, kindly ask a question.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Seth. Thank you for the presentation.
Sí, 00227-9615.
Please, can I continue?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Mine is about the assignment. I'm not able to still submit my assignment. Please, can I get any help? You know, I've been linking up with you on WhatsApp, but I'm not able to still send. It's not loading anytime I try.
The assignment.
Yeah.
Okay, can you try with a computer?
Yes, I've been alternating the two.
Okay. Let's see maybe later in the day, and then if we can resolve that for you.
Okay. So I'll get back to you.
Okay. All right.
So I can get back to you on WhatsApp, right?
Yes, on WhatsApp. Then we'll try to resolve it for you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Is there a question from Jeremiah Bella?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Seth. Mine is more. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead with the question. Hello, Jeremiah. You can go ahead with your question.
So, mine is directed to Dr. Paul. Yeah, that's what I'm saying for the Mali project. I'm asking, where should it be directed to? Or if individuals or someone would like to sponsor it, where should the person go?
Okay, I think Dr. Paul will be able to answer that question.
Yes, that's I said it's directed to him.
Yeah, I think he's presently doing something. I mean, it's a meeting that is currently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
maybe you can connect with him after the class.
Oh, okay. And then the second one, you were talking about the ECG interpretation. So if I have an ECG and I want you to interpret it for me, can you do it?
Yeah, sure. So later we would put up a platform where you can load your ECG for us to interpret for you. But if it's available now, you can share with me on WhatsApp and do the interpretation for you.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I have your WhatsApp number, so I'll send it to you then.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone from French? I think someone is asking, Doc, you may have to go over the explanation of an ion of the right and left hemispheres of the brain, as there was interference from the Spanish questioner. Okay. So I'm saying that the more connected you are on one part of the hemisphere, as we are saying, the right hemisphere controls everything on your left body and vice versa. So if you have more connection, the cable connectivity, the motor function, more of it on your right, then you can do more of the things on your left, like writing or driving or do all those things. So those who are left-handed have more connectivity on their right hemisphere. Most of us who are right-handed have more connectivity of cables or the nerves on the left, so we can do most things on our right. That's it about that question. So someone asked a question in French. Okay, Yao Paul was asking about, let me try to see if I can interpret that one. And then we see. Just a minute. But then if you have a question, you can proceed and ask a question. Next person is Emmanuel Daniel. Please go ahead and ask a question. Okay. So Paul, Yao was asking about atrophy and scoliosis or spine deformity. So when you talk about scoliosis, you are actually referring to this. Let me show this. Whether this one can show properly. Okay. So looking at the nature of the spine, this one, it looks more straight from this side, right? But when there is a bend. When there is a bend, let me point up laser. Oh, sorry. Let me use this one. Laser. No. Pointer option. Let me use a pen. So this one is straight. This is normal. But when this begins to bend this way, then it's called scoliosis. And it's all because of distraction of the bones and the cartilages. These ones, when they are being destroyed, you end up getting scoliosis, or the bones are degenerated. All right, so I will take a few more questions, then we may raise the curtains down today. There may be a last lecture that will take us through how to do the BP management measurement, basic life support, ECG, and then the other things that we have talked about earlier. Emmanuel. Hello. Hello, can anybody hear me? I can't hear anyone.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we are hearing you, Doc.
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Clearly, we are hearing you.
All right, thank you. Emmanuel Daniel, do you still have a question to ask? We can't hear Emmanuel. Any other question on the block from our French? And then, okay, someone is asking about my telephone number again. I'm going to post it in the chat so you can have access to it. So you can WhatsApp me later in the day or in the week. And this is my email address. You can equally get in touch with me, and then we can have some discussion. Someone is asking if I could spell out the medical card. I can spell the words for you. And don't worry much about this. I'm going to get you the interpretations pretty soon so that you'll be able to have all the big words. In fact, some of us took a long time in the medical school to learn all these jargons, but it will come gradually. Don't worry about it. You are now missionaries, so you get to know more about these things. All right. Is there a question? Otherwise, we may be raising the curtains down for today. All right. So I'm getting Dr. Paul on the call so that he. Okay, Diana Botri.
Seguimos. Sí, seguimos aquí.
Diana, is there a question?
Okay. Vale.
Hello, Doc. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes.
Diana? The line is breaking on your end, at your end. Dana, if you could maybe send a chat quickly so we can answer the question for you. I can barely hear what you are saying. Okay, so whilst we wait for Dana to get us the test, Aisha Lai.
There is a French question, say, can you take glucosamine for joint problems?
Glucosamine, okay, so yeah, so the question is about glucosamines and
joint problems.
And joint problems. Okay, so it is known that these drugs, the glucosamines, enhance the synovial membrane. This membrane here that produces the joint fluid. Right. So when you take those drugs, it enhances secretion of the joint fluid. In some instances where the membrane itself is destroyed, even taking the medication will not be able to produce enough fluid at the joint for you. So you are not going to achieve any results, even taking the glucosamines. But the healthier joints may, or the one that have enough, the membrane here can produce for you the fluid. Now, we can artificially instill gel into the joint to aid in the lubrication, or we can inject medications like the steroids to aid in the lubrication of the joint. But whenever the fluid is diminished or not being produced again, the bones will meet. And when the bones meet, we have a problem with pain control and destruction of the bones as well. Thank you. There are 3 more hands raised. Then I will take maybe a French or Portuguese or Spanish question. If there's no other question on the chat, okay, there's a question.
There is another French question. It's about what part of the brain is touched by the commenter. I don't know what is commenter. What part of the brain is affected by when with a commenter? I don't know what a commenter is in English.
I'm still trying to figure out what that is about. Maybe if the person can come back again and get us better information about that. And someone is asking when the documents are going to be shared. I said that for the anatomy and physiology lectures, we are still doing interpretation. So pretty soon, the materials will be available to share on the Google Classroom portal for the French, the Spanish, and the Portuguese. Let me take a question from Patrick. I think it's a question from one of our Spanish colleagues, so that we answer that.
Yes. The question someone was asking a couple of minutes ago, there was a word in French you guys didn't understand. What is it? Can someone read it in French for me? I'm going to give the translation to you guys.
No, I think the question didn't come as a test. It came in as a statement.
Okay. Tell the person to come again.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Kingsley, can you proceed with the question?
Yeah, Pastor, thank you very much. Mine have to do with what we are going through. Some of us have been agitating that you link us to some of our universities where we can continue with the studies, simply because it is helping us. As a matter of fact, As a matter of fact, some of us have been reading on our own to enhance our knowledge in these areas. And with the tutorials that you are taking us through, it is actually helping us. And we would like to continue so that we can be well certificated. Doc, you know that even here in Ghana, you can stand somewhere and begin to do a presentation. And somebody will approach you from maybe TMPC or one of these health organizations that license individuals to undertake some of these things that we are learning. And if you don't have any certificate that is accredited or recognized outside the church's domain, it become a problem. So kindly try as much as possible to let us have, if at all we have to pay more, if at all we have to, maybe the credit hours will be increased. Because sometime past, the Women Ministries Department organized some leadership courses, and it was linked to one of our universities. At the end of the day, they were awarded certificates, which was from a university and accredited. So we are pleading, what you are giving us is really helping us, and we wouldn't like to end it here. We need to continue or have a document that will be recognized even in our societies, so that we can not only be medical missionaries in our churches, but medical missionaries wherever the need arises. That is my concern.
Okay,
thank you.
So thank you very much. I think it's come up again multiple times in our discussions. The last week I mentioned that Valley View University is putting up some programs to cover these things, some of the things that we'll be doing, like ultrasound training, the ECG training, all that. So those who want to partake, in the right time, I may get them on board through the director if we have them to explain into more details as to how that program will go about. So don't worry, we've taken that into consideration. We've spoken to the people who matter in this area, and then they are willing to support us in that regard. So don't worry about that. Pretty soon, Valley View is going to start or continue some of this program for us. But there was a question about, in the French section, it said, please, how is it that hemiplegic can cause two different symptoms? That's relaxed muscles and nerves, and hard nerves and muscles. So now, asking about hemiplegia, hemiplegia is when the entire part of the body, let's say the hand or the limb, the lower limb, is unable to move, right? And all got to do with the frontal lobe. If there is limitation of blood supply to the frontal lobe, that part of the brain that controls the movement is going to stop, right? It's going to stop outright. And if that movement is stopped because the brain doesn't function anymore, that muscle will no longer be able to work, because that's where the cable is coming from, the major connection is coming from. It no longer functions, so the person may lose the ability to be able to move the hand. That's for hemiplegia. All right, someone is also asking a question about, let me see the chat. It says that the patient in coma, we want to know what part of the brain is touched. So the person in coma has multiple sections of the brain not functioning. It can be the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, the temporal lobe. All these lobes may be malfunctioning. And usually, if you're unable to coordinate or execute activities, the frontal lobe is most often affected in this way. All right, so maybe the last few from Paul Gomez. From Paul Gomez in the chat, it says that how can synovial deficiency be prevented? In fact, you can only prevent synovial deficiency by ensuring that you don't overwork the joint. If the joint is not overworked, if you don't put more stress on the joint, then you can prevent synovial deficiency, like carrying heavy loads and working excessively. Things that can overwork the joint can cause synovial deficiency. Someone's asking about a test. No, there'll be no test for today. I'll give you all the interpretations and other materials before we put it on a text for you. And if you want, someone asked if I can add the number to WhatsApp page. Okay, Baptista, please kindly give me a hi, and then we can get you on the WhatsApp page. Thank you. Sarah Bodua is asking, please, doctor, is there any chance for those using eyeglasses to correct the eyes? Yes, because before the eyeglass is given, there's a problem that you are correcting. So once you are able to correct with the binoculars, then that is it. But if the problem is actually structural with the retina or the lens or the chambers of the eye, then we need to do extensive work to know the problem exactly to solve it for you. A question from this side. It's a French question from Masumi. Let me do the interpretation and see. It says that are images formed on the retina too? Yes. So the retina picks the light and the brain interprets the light as images. So the retina will pick the light and the image will form in the brain. That's what the brain does. The image will form for you to know that this what you're seeing is this object. So, and still someone asking about spelling out the question, the words. That one, I am sorry, I cannot spell all the words that are just Omadinye. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah. Why is it that a stroke patient who has normal BP and normal sugar level but still can't walk? Yeah, so once the brain has lost its ability to function, it doesn't get enough blood, it can't function, so the body will not be able to properly work as it used to be until blood is returned to the area. Oh, someone's question wasn't answered. My question wasn't answered. I'm worried about my mom. Oh, Abigail. So Abigail, your mom issue is about the nerves. Once the nerves are damaged, it takes a long time before it repairs. And the repair is about 0.5 millimeters a day. So it takes years before we can reconnect the nerves. But we need to know exactly what the problem is. So Abigail, connect with me on WhatsApp and let's talk extensively about your mom. So temperance can help synovial deficiency. Of course, Deborah, temperance can do a lot of things for us. Not overworking, not being stressful overly can help us do a lot of this. Now, should we eat to help prevent or heal those diseases? Yeah, you usually overeat, but eat healthy. Eat healthy diet. Abigail, so yes, I would be expecting your call, but not now. I'll be in another meeting after this call, so we can connect maybe later in the day or probably tomorrow in the afternoon. All right, Dr. Paul, I have a question again from someone hand is raised. Okay, there's one more in the chat. Let me sort that one out. Then we raise the curtains. It's almost 2 p.m. here. And how to explain water noodles at eye level? Water noodles. What is that about? Can you give me more details about that? Musumi. Water noodles. Maybe can we type it? Let's see if you can interpret it better for us. Stephen Blavo, please. You are the last person on this side. Ask your question and then we raise the curtains down for today.
It's like you have a waters from your eyes without crying.
Okay. So yes, so if you are the tear gland doesn't respond properly, you will not produce tears. Sometimes too, the tears may be coming without any initiation of emotional distress. It's abnormal to have that, so it needs to be assessed by the eye doctor. The ophthalmologist must see. Okay, Blavo, please, you are last on this bill.
Okay, Doc, thank you. I have a few questions. One, I would want to find out what really causes gangrene. And then number two, personally, I've been for some time now. Normally, I'll receive a very painful, sharp flash of pain behind my ear at the occipital region. it stays for a while and then it goes. I don't really know what is causing that. So these two.
Okay, so that pain that you're feeling at the back of the ear is what they call trigeminal neuralgia. There is a nerve impulse that are not properly coordinated. You need to be assessed, and then we can manage for you. So you can connect with me later, and then we see. And then for the gangrene, when you don't supply blood to any part of the body, that body part will die. And that will cause, when there's death, you form gangrene. So in most instances, we have to amputate the limb to save the body from dying entirely. All right, so that has been a very interesting day coming your way from this side. Thank you very much for your attention today. Okay, I think that glaucoma question has been answered. So glaucoma, pressure build up on the eye to cause blindness. You have to screen the people to really pick up the glaucoma early. Dr. Paul, you can take up from here.
Yes. Okay, all too soon now the class is over for the day. Thank you very much, Doc, for such a wonderful presentation. In fact, you keep on setting our minds and feelings on high thinking level. And also we are claiming for more. Thank you very much. We thank you very, very much. And also helping us with all the good questions from the class. You've been able to explain everything for us to appreciate the reason of joining this class. I would like to commend Pastor Wisdom and the church. Today also, they are with us. Thank you very much. We've been observing you from afar. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've seen you waving at us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so proud of you. Thank you, and may God bless you. And also, Margaret, do you have something to say before we close?
Yeah, Doc. What I would like to add is we thank Dr. Seth very much for all these good answers he has given to the questions that they have been answering. And above all, they should remember to do regular exercise. Most of the questions and the challenges we are having is because we don't even exercise ourselves. And so we feel numbness on our bodies and we think it's something serious. We need to be exercising so we can have our ultimate health. We thank everybody for coming and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Margaret. If you don't have time to exercise, you have time to spend more money on medications. That is for your information. If you don't have time to exercise, I tell you, you have more time to spend more money on medications. So please, let us take it from here. Thank you very much. Dorcas, Obaya, Mama, do you have something to say? Do you have any information for us? Oh, okay. Maybe she's also struggling with the internet. Thank you very much, class. God's willing, next week we are meeting. Dr. said, we thank God for your ministry. We strongly believe what we've learned this morning or this afternoon, it will take us very far as medical missionaries. So I'm throwing a challenge to you as a class. Ask yourself, what I have learned so far, what we are going through so far, which aspect can I or would I be able to integrate into my ministry as a medical missionary, so that wherever you find yourself, you'll be able to represent Christ fully as fully prepared, baked medical missionary. So thank you very much, and start thinking about some of these things. God's willing, next week we are meeting. Class, can we say, Dr. Seth, God bless you for your ministry? Can we say that?
Doctor said,
bless
God bless you.
May God bless
Le
you for your
bendiga, que Dios le
ministry.
bendiga.
for your ministry.
Thank you
God
for your
bless you.
Thank you very much.
God
Que
bless
Dios
you.
bendiga al doctor.
Merci beaucoup. Merci. God bless you.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Que Dieu bénisse abondamment.
May God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you, God.
Then you pray. Let us pray.
Jeremy.
Thank you very much. Pastor Wisdom, can you
Si
pray for us? Pastor Wisdom. Pastor Wisdom. Pastor Wisdom, can you pray for us?
Thank you for today. May we do this.
Amen. Okay.